This is my 3-month update for my Red Sea 525. I've added quite a few fish and corals since my last update, which was about a month into my tank. You can see that one that just went by was one of my favorites. He's a whitetail tang. Actually went to get a cull tang, and the fish store just happened to have him there that day, so he was kind of destiny. I was thinking about getting one, but online they're really expensive. He was not near as expensive in the local fish store, so I was pretty happy with him. And that's my Melanaris wrasse. I got him in case I get any little bugs in the tank. He can take care of them. But unfortunately, I also got a Scots wrasse, and the Melanaris wrasse decided that he didn't like the Scots wrasse and managed to beat him to death, which is kind of a bummer. We call him Mel, or murdering Mel now, is the other thing we call him. So I guess I'm only going to have one wrasse in my tank, that guy. He's pretty though, so I'm not too upset. I mean, you know, things happen. I kind of thought it was a risk putting two wrasses in there. You never know. Every fish is different. I have my little cardinal. He hangs back in the corner a lot though. He kind of just hides a lot. And I have a couple black ice clowns. This is my affiliate garden, so I'd have hammers and frog spawns. Hoping they'll kind of grow into one big blob over time. My favorite's this guy in the front. He's a neon green, or neon yellow, I mean, hammer, and then the seafoam green hammer right behind him. Then we have a couple of frog spawns and another kind of lighter green hammer. And then that's another frog spawn. That was the first one I got. He's kind of a green and purple tip frog spawn. He's kind of what you see a lot in the stores. I've never seen this one like this yellow one before. I saw him online. I couldn't resist. He was a little pricey, but I really like it. Hopefully he won't have any problems. That's my newest addition, a little neon candy cane. My rock, I'll start off as base rock, so it's still kind of white, but it's starting to get a little bit of, it looks like green coralline algae, or just algae, I don't know, but it doesn't come off with, I took a toothbrush and rubbed on it and it won't come off, so I think it's some sort of green coralline. I guess it starts off green and maybe turns purple over time. I don't know, the rock definitely has a little bit of a purple tinge to it, so I'm hoping it's starting to get a little bit of coralline on it. I seeded it with this guy from the local fish store. That's the only piece of live rock I really put in. This I'm hoping turns into someday my zoa garden. I know zoas are a little bit dangerous, but they sure are colorful. So I just got this front row. They're brand new. I just put those in. You can see that one's in the middle there. I've had those in for a little while and they're growing pretty nicely. The one on the back left back there, the red centered one with the green outline, I think he's called a eagle eye or something. He's taken off, man. He was not near that big when I got him. And that's another new one way in the back that you can just barely see him. He's kind of orange, I think, so I'm hoping he takes off too, but that's my little zoa garden. Over here, we got my empty rock castle. I'm hoping to do something with those eventually. Like I said, I'm kind of working my way across the tank. I'm thinking about making this, reason I haven't put anything over here yet is I'm just thinking about putting SPS over here and running kind of a bright side of the tank, and then over here kind of keeping this side a little bit dimmer. I can see my little fox. He's really skittish. He doesn't come out when I come up to the tank. He eats really good though. When there's food in the water he does, but he seems, any kind of motion kind of freaks him out. Anyway, that's my new livestock. And of course my favorite guy, my white-tailed tang. He's really pretty. He was just luck. Like I said, when I went to the fish store, they just had him there. So now we're gonna take a quick look in the sump to see what changes I made there. And the big change I made is I added this guy, which is a Skims algae reactor. I don't know what difference he's making yet. My My phosphate and my nitrate are both really low. My phosphate's actually 0 last time I measured it. Nitrate's less than 1, so he's not very high either. It's my Simplicity skimmer. He's kind of a pain to adjust. I've got him in a little bit shallower water now, and he seems to be doing a little better. Still produces bubbles out the exhaust. It's hard to see, but he's has a few bubbles coming out into the sump, but the bubble trap catches them so they're not getting up in the main tank. I have a airline running outside. I'm not convinced that does much, but it was pretty easy. There's a window right over here by my tank. That's my reactor. I was running GFO in it, but my phosphates have gotten to 0, so I don't run any GFO anymore. It's just activated charcoal or whatever, GAC, whatever you call it. And the one problem I did have, and I solved it with those two little guys right there. Those are Murloc check valves. I hope they last, but I was having a problem with the calcium line back siphoning all the way through the pump. So I think the pump was having a problem. It shouldn't have done that, but basically that line would just completely fill up with air all the way back to my dosing pump. Then of course it wouldn't dose any then. It was just full of air and it wouldn't work. I put the check valves on there. The other bonus is bubbles would also creep up those lines over time, and I don't think it really affected anything. It just looked kind of funky because they were all full of air. But the check valves solve that too, so there's no air gets back up through the lines. And of course I have a bunch of Ciparex and Media Pure all in my tank, just to, why not, right? And this is the guy I was just talking about. You can see that's my Apex dosing pump. And it was this guy, the left one, which was fortunately the calcium, which is right now in my tank not as important as the alkalinity, would lose siphon. You can see there's a little bit of air in the line right now, but I don't think that hurts anything. That's on the output side. It doesn't pump hard enough, I think, to push the bubbles through, so they just kind of sit there and the liquid flows around them. But the problem was is air would come all the way back up to here, then back down through this guy, and then it would just pull air up each time, and then it would flow right back down, so it wasn't doing anything. I think the pump was bad. Neptune sent me a new pump. I replaced it. Didn't seem to help it, but the check valve was cheaper than the shipping, so I'm hoping that fixes it. Here's my board in the back with all my stuff on it. Anyway, the other thing I do is I dose this. This is Red Sea Energy A&B. I started putting that in a couple weeks ago because my corals were looking a little bleachy. I dropped the light down and started putting that in to hopefully give them a little bit better color. My nutrients are really low. Like I said, my phosphates were 0. My nitrates were bouncing off 0. They'd come up to maybe a 0.05 or whatever, 0.5, whatever it is on the Red Sea tests. So I started putting that in, and it seems to have helped. The one that really likes it is that guy. He's really comes out a lot better, and his color is really good since I've been putting the Red Sea Energy in. It does make the tank go a little green for half an hour. I cut my skimmer off for a little bit too. But other than that, that's the only thing I'm dosing. Other than that, I feed the fish. I dose the Red Sea A&B Energy, and then of course the 2-part to keep the alkalinity and calcium. So not a super complex system at this point. Anyway, that's my update. If you have any questions, feel free to post them. Thanks a lot.